I'm Burton Klein here on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. Today we're going to have some fun with cities. That does not mean we're going to go and frolic in these cities, but perhaps some facts about the cities that are not known every day. And I don't mean to be with a horn in my hand when I say the following. My bride and I have been to the cities you're about to hear, some as many as 8 times. Some unknown fun things about cities. Here we go. Florence, Italy. Republic Square in Florence, Italy is resplendent. Picture a huge cobblestone-type square with cafes and restaurants around its perimeter. And inside those restaurants and cafes, music is coming out from many of them, and a story about Republic Square in Firenze, the Italian name for Florence, Italy. The year is 1992, and walking through Republic Square in Florence, Italy, are the 3 tenors: Luciano Pavarotti, Jose Carreras, Placido Domingo. They're in Florence, Italy for an 11-night session at the Florence Opera House. But Placido Domingo was having some voice problems, but he could get around those voice problems, a cold. But Luciano Pavarotti was having more than a cold. It might have even required some surgery. He was wondering, how am I going to follow through on this gig in Florence, Italy? So the 3 tenors are walking in Republic Square, and they hear a melodious voice inside one of the cafes. And they go into the cafe. And the voice they heard was the voice of Andrea Bocelli, 1992. And that's how Andrea Bocelli got his start, because Luciano Pavarotti said to him after he heard him singing in this cafe in Republic Square in Firenze, which is Florence, Italy, "Would you be able to take my place with Placido Domingo and Jose Carreras for this gig in Florence, Italy?" Thus the birth of the stardom of the blind Andrea Bocelli, who we can see on public television whenever we choose. Now listen to this one. Istanbul, Turkey. But Istanbul has going down the center of the city the Bosphorus Sea. The Bosphorus Sea, and you know what that sea does to Istanbul, Turkey? It makes 1/2 of Istanbul in Europe and the other half not in Europe, in Asia. A phenomenon. The Bosphorus Sea does that to Istanbul, Turkey. 2 continents, 1 city. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Shanghai, China has 23.8 million people. Now, we all know the size of New York City, 7.5 million, 8 million people. So you see how many times New York City can fit inside of Shanghai, China. But in New York City, with all the pollution of major cities, people don't have to walk around with masks on their face because of the aforementioned pollution. In Shanghai, one can be walking through outdoor malls or on the streets, and one sees people wearing masks. Anti-pollution. But something else about Shanghai, China, and their 23.8 million people. Shanghai, China has 70 buildings that are over 70 stories in height. Another place in China, Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is amazing. Hong Kong has a population of merely 7.8 million. And one can come from the different sections of Hong Kong by a little ferry boat. Yes, one can. Hong Kong has 52 buildings in its 7-point-some million people that are over 70 stories high. And Hong Kong, ethnicity-wise, is amazing. In Hong Kong, one does not see a predominance of Asian people, the wonderful Asian people. One sees people from Australia and the United States and Budapest and Germany. Hong Kong. Marvelous are these two cities in China. And now let's go to Scotland. Oh, I won't use my Scottish accent. I won't do that. But in Edinburgh, Scotland, B-U-R-G-H, there is what is called the Miracle Mile. And we know Miracle Miles a lot of places dealing with shopping. And the Miracle Mile in Edinburgh, Scotland, indeed deals with shopping. Miracle stores, many of them featuring Gucci and all the things we see in the United States of America and elsewhere too, of course. And now we're going to cross the pond. We're going to come to Ashland, Oregon. Ashland, Oregon, when one goes north of California, Ashland might be 5 miles or 10 miles past the California border going north. And Ashland, Oregon, not known to many people, is the Shakespeare capital of the United States. You might say, oh, Burton Klein, that's not so. That's in Connecticut you're talking about. No, I'm talking about Ashland, Oregon. In Ashland, Oregon, one can see Shakespearean plays 24/7 in the lovely town of Ashland. And lovely it is. Seoul in South Korea. Seoul in South Korea has over 11 million people. And we all know if one goes to England, the changing of the guards, one should see the resplendency of the changing of the guards in Seoul, Korea. The color of the uniforms, both men and women. And there's a ceremony that lasts for 38 to 42 minutes in a main square in Seoul, Korea, showing the changing of the guards. And another thing about Seoul, Korea. Now, all of the men in the audience, we respect and honor women, do we not? But there's something that we must say about the women of Seoul, Korea. Is this indigenous only to women of Seoul, Korea? I don't know that. I haven't done a study of this. But the women in Seoul, Korea are known for the gloves matching the handbags which match the stockings. The women in Seoul, Korea are known for the makeup on their cheeks, matching not only the handbags and the stockings and the gloves, a certain elegance to the lovely women of Seoul, Korea. Now, is there a person in this audience who doesn't like coffee? Not too many people. My wife and I are decaf folks. But something, as we cross the pond again, coming back to the United States, Charlotte, North Carolina. In the wonderful city of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the center of the city, there's a Holiday Inn. And that Holiday Inn, ladies and gentlemen of the CCP TV viewing audience, was known to be, although this can't be definitely documented, the first place in the country and maybe the world to have pots of coffee on the table and pots of boiling water on the table so that one does not even have to wait for a waiter or waitress to come and say, would you like more coffee? Would you like more tea? Charlotte, North Carolina. Holiday Inn, center of town. I kid you not. Now wait a minute. Are we talking about people who are walking wonderful dogs earning more than school teachers? Mayhaps. In Buenos Aires, and we know Buenos Aires, of course, for Eva Perón and Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. but Buenos Aires, the dog nannies, people who walk the dogs of people who are working, earn up to, hold on to your hats now, earn up to $1 million a year. The champion, for want of a better word, dog walker in Buenos Aires, a gentleman, is known to walk or have walked 24 dogs at a time. 12 out of one hand with the leashes, 12 out of another hand, the champion dog walker of the world. And he even wore something that said something to that effect. Buenos Aires. Innsbruck. Innsbruck, the home of Swarovski crystals, Swarovski. And the Swarovski crystal store in Innsbruck is a resplendent store. Innsbruck has right next door to the Swarovski store the University of Innsbruck, a lovely town, antediluvian, charming, but the home of, just to mention one crystal company of the world, Swarovski crystals. Dublin. Now, do you want me to use my Irish accent? Oh, you're a wonderful lad, you are. Oh, look at the colour in your cheeks you have, lad. All right, I admit that's terrible. But something in Dublin is not terrible. The doors of Dublin. There's an area of Dublin, and it really goes throughout the city, but a specific area of Dublin where the doors are carved. All kind of carvings. Some have animals, some have maps, some have designs, some have flowers. But the doors of Dublin are magnificent. Go there. See for yourself. There's a movie, I think the year was 1939. Oh, I think it was 1939. And the movie was Gone with the Wind. In Gone with the Wind, there was a staircase. And that staircase was taken from the movie set and put inside the lobby of a hotel in Richmond, Virginia, the Jefferson Hotel. Used to be called the Jefferson House. But the staircase from Gone with the Wind is in the lobby of that hotel. Now I'm going to use a curse word on community college television because you remember Gone with the Wind. You remember Clark Gable when he said, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." Now maybe that will help you remember the movie even better. Something which I find to be an amazing statistic. Jerusalem in Israel. 36% of the people living in Jerusalem are non-Judaic, not Jewish. And these people who are non-Judaic and the people who live in Jerusalem who are Jewish, they get along like bread and butter. There is no conflict among the Muslims and the Arabs and the Christians, the 36% who comprise the non-Judaic population of Jerusalem in Israel. Fun facts about cities of the world. And now let's get to Auckland, New Zealand. Auckland, New Zealand is a wonderful place. It's absolutely wonderful. And Auckland, New Zealand has not too far from Auckland, New Zealand, a city called Napier. Napier. And I might have mentioned Napier in a previous CCP TV telecast. Napier is the Art Deco capital of the world. Why? Because February 23rd, 1931, Napier, New Zealand had a massive earthquake, 7.8 in magnitude. But when Napier rebuilt itself, it rebuilt itself in the Art Deco style, because in 1925 in Paris, France, there was an Art Deco convention. Art Deco, short for Des Artistes Décoratifs. And Art Deco, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, features pastel colors, light purples, and light yellows, and pinks, and grays. And it features geometric figures, Art Deco decor. Well, Napier, New Zealand, took on, after their earthquake of 1931, February 23rd, an Art Deco decor. And much of that is passing on to close by Auckland, New Zealand, a beautiful, beautiful city. There's a city in Germany that they refer to as Boston. And those of you who have been to Boston know how lovely it is. Not only because Harvard University is there, in Cambridge area, but Boston is really a resplendent United States city. A city in Germany is a sequel almost to Boston, Massachusetts. That city, Munich, Germany. It's resplendent, it's lovely. College students, the name of the colleges, they skip my mind for the moment. When senility sets in, what does one expect on CCP TV? But Munich is the Boston of Europe. And now listen to this story. Walt Disney went to Savannah, Georgia way back. 1955, Disneyland opened. But well before 1955, Walt Disney went to Savannah, Georgia, and he went along the banks of the water, the river in Savannah, Georgia. And the banks there are called Factor's Walk. All stores are there now. It's lovely. But Walt Disney wanted to make Disneyland, Disney World, whatever, in Savannah, Georgia. And the city council said, we don't want it. Now, Savannah, Georgia is a lovely city. But isn't that a fun fact about a city? Savannah, Georgia could have been Disneyland, Disney World, whatever one wants to call it. Cairo, Egypt. My wife and I were shocked to realize that one can walk inside of the pyramids in Cairo, Egypt. Actually walk inside. One hopes that one does not have any kind of a breathing problem or a heart problem, but one can walk inside the pyramids of Cairo, Egypt. A magnificent metropolis, by the way. The pyramids overlooking the city of Cairo. Now, chiropractors, people who are in orthopedics, let's say, and I say this tongue-in-cheek now, let's say that a chiropractor, an orthopedic person, is not making too much of a living in the United States for whatever reason. A suggestion, tongue-in-cheek again. Go to Athens, Greece. The lovely city of Athens, Greece. Yep. Right. Why? The Acropolis, and Acropolis means hill, and the Parthenon. And the stones are slippery, are they not? Yes, they are. And many people, and I'm not knocking going to Athens now, and please go there, wear your rubber-soled shoes. But through the years, many people have slipped and fallen on the Acropolis, going around the Parthenon, on the Acropolis. Orthopedic people, chiropractors, is there a chance to make a little more of this? Perhaps tongue-in-cheek, but it's a wonderful place for those doctors, and one even learns that on tour in the wonderful city of Athens, Greece. Barcelona. Barcelona has, we mentioned earlier Jose Carreras. Barcelona actually has Jose Carreras Avenue because of a lot of his life that he spent in the wonderful Spanish city of Barcelona. But Barcelona has a street to beat all streets. The street is called Las Ramblas. Las Ramblas has everything on it one can imagine. Las Ramblas in Barcelona, I can't begin to describe it. Can't do it. But then there's something else about Barcelona which each of you in the audience should know. Antonio Gaudi, G-A-U-D-I. Antonio Gaudi was one that wanted to bring up visitors to the city of Barcelona. He was an architect. Some of the balconies, not far from the famous street of Las Ramblas, some of the balconies are shaped, if you will, like eyeglasses. Some are shaped like people's faces. Some are shaped like steeples to attract attention. But something else to attract attention. The famous church in Barcelona, La Famiglia. Gaudi put in the cornerstone of that church, after he built it and oversaw its construction, that this church will never be completed inside, only the exterior. Why? Barcelona was not drawing people to come there like some of the other European cities. So he had a brilliant idea. If I build a church here and the inside is never really complete, that in itself will draw people to that church. Has it? Oh my goodness, has it? La Famiglia Church, till this day in Barcelona, not complete. Gaudi passed away, by the way, in the year 1926. My wife's favorite city of the world, and don't be angry at her for this, if you have a different favorite city, is Sydney, Australia. Sydney, Australia is magnificent. The Opera House, the magnificent tiered Opera House on a plaza. And outside the Opera House, the cruise ships come, and the cruise ships dock by the Opera House. And the people on deck in the cruise ships can even hear the melodic tones emanating from the Opera House. And the plaza around the Opera House, and the hotels and the shops. Sydney, Australia, a magnificent place, as is the country of Australia. Soup lovers. How many of you in the audience love soup? Would you raise your hand? That's funny, I can't see you with your hands raised. Marseille, France. M-A-R-S-E-I-L-L-E. Marseille, France, for want of a better term, invented bouillabaisse soup. I shouldn't say the following, so I'll just whisper it so no one can hear. If one goes to Marseille, France today and gets a small bowl of bouillabaisse soup, in American dollars it can cost about $12. Oh, I didn't say that. You didn't hear. But it's worth it. The place where bouillabaisse soup was invented, Marseille in France. Now these telephone poles. Do the people in Singapore like their telephone poles? Yes, they do. And let me state some reasons why. May I? Thanks. The telephone poles have cameras on them. And those cameras do invade one's privacy. Yes, they do. But if I may, two women, young women, older women, can walk in Singapore 2 o'clock in the morning safely because the cameras on the telephone poles. Those cameras do something else. Yes, they do. Let's say someone's chewing gum. You can't chew gum in Singapore. Why? Because gum many times leaves one's mouth and goes on the ground, which creates problems. So if you're caught on camera chewing gum, believe it or not, you're fined $100. If you're caught a second time chewing gum, you can be put in jail for an evening. It's safe in Singapore. And Singapore, by the way, a fact, is not a country. It's considered a state, or it's considered a province. And if one pulls up on the computer the countries of the world, and I've said this before on CCP TV, one sees there are 186 countries or 196 countries, a variance of 10. is because of places like Liechtenstein and Singapore, which are not really called countries, they are called states, or they're called provinces. You know about the canals of Bruges in Belgium? Sure you do. It's lovely. But the canals of Amsterdam have another dimension. You go on a canal in Amsterdam and you wonder, how does the boat you're on know where you're passing at that time? Because they're timed so that the audio that one hears going through the canal is timed according to how long it takes the boat to go past that point. So you have narrated boat rides on canals in Amsterdam. And by the way, I hope the people in Venice aren't angry with me. The canals of Amsterdam are a little more clean than the canals of Venice, that the authorities in Venice do a good job trying to keep up with what people throw into those canals sometimes. Restaurants. We all love restaurants. Whether it's a McDonald's or a Wendy's or in Philadelphia, a top-flight restaurant or wherever. But Lyon, France, Lyon, is known as the restaurant capital of the world. They have the most restaurants per capita of any city of the world. Lyon in France. Oh my goodness. Wow. Golly. You've heard the term Holy Toledo, meaning wow, or golly, or oh my goodness. Toledo, Spain. And how did the term Holy Toledo come about? Holy Toledo, because to use the term per capita again, has the most churches per capita of any place in the world. Holy Toledo. And the term comes about. Wow! Oh my goodness! Holy Toledo! Did you see that play he made, that catch he made in the outfield? Holy Toledo. You know, we're not people to start rumors. You shouldn't start rumors. I shouldn't start rumors. And all places that sell earrings and sell jewelry are wonderful. But ladies, particularly if you want special earrings, and I don't work for this place, I have nothing to do with them, other than the fact that we've been to a place called Rumors in New Orleans. They don't say New Orleans down there, they say New Orleans. Fun things about cities of the world. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did in giving it to you, folks. That's all the time we have today. I want to thank you for joining us at CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. I'm Burton Klein. I hope you'll join me next time. Bye-bye.